Now that the MeshCore firmware has been flashed to your device, we're now ready to go over the pairing process and the basics of the MeshCore app. So let's hop on the app and get started. One of the nice things about MeshCore is the app is the same whether you're on Android or an Apple device. It's even the same using the web browser version, which is what I'll be using here for this video. If you haven't already done so, go to your device's App Store and download the MeshCore app. Or if you want to use the web browser version like I am, that can be found at app.meshcore.nz. So at the top right of the app, there's a connect button. Select that and it should start scanning automatically if you're using the app on Android or Apple devices. Then a list of Bluetooth devices running the MeshCore firmware should appear that we can select. Now, if you have multiple devices showing up and want to make sure you're connecting to the correct one, we can take a look at the top left of the device's screen. You'll see a specific ID for it that should match up with one of the listed Bluetooth devices. So let's go ahead and select our device here, and we'll be prompted to enter in a PIN code, which will be on the device's screen. If you're using a device like one of these card-style devices that doesn't have a screen, the PIN for screenless devices is 123456. Once your device has been paired, we should be able to see the device name and the current battery level on the top left of the app here. The first thing we'll need to do is configure the device using the app. And this is done by selecting the gear icon here on the top right, which will bring us to a settings page. We won't cover every single setting here on this page since this video is part of the Quick Start series where we're focused on just getting the basics of getting up and running with MeshCore. The first setting here is name, and this can be whatever you want really. Some people who are ham radio operators like to use their call sign. Some people prefer to use the handle they use online. So I'll just use TC2 here. The next setting is optional, but good if you want to share your location or general location with others. It's also needed for some advanced stuff that we'll cover in a later video. And that's this latitude and longitude setting here. And if we click on the map icon on the right, we can zoom into wherever we like and select an area on the map to set as a location. Now, I prefer not to share my exact location, but will often share a location near me and will usually set my location to a nearby park or airport or wherever. So I'll set mine to the McMinn County Airport for this video. Once the location has been selected, we need to save it by selecting the check mark on the top right here. The next setting is also optional and is for sharing your location via an advert. MeshCore is very focused on cutting down network traffic and privacy, so companion devices don't automatically transmit their name or location. Companion devices only transmit this info manually using what's called an advert, which we'll get into more here in a bit. So this checkbox setting here is for whether or not you want the location we just set to be shared when you send an advert. Since I didn't set my exact location, I'm fine with sharing, so I'll go ahead and check this. Next section here is for the radio settings. Most areas have a preset with all the settings configured, and it's just a matter of selecting the one for your area. Since I'm in the US here, I'll select the USA Canada recommended. After selecting that, you'll see it loads the recommended frequency along with other settings. You'll want to leave most of these settings as is because changing them will affect your ability to communicate with others on the mesh. One setting you can change, however, is the coding rate. If you're using something like one of these card-style devices with a built-in antenna, then setting it to the max coding rate of 8 will help with weak signals. Or even if you have a device with an external antenna but you have a weak link to your closest repeater, setting the coding rate to 8 will help with that as well. Just know that doing this will make your device's transmissions slightly longer, which will use slightly more battery power, but it's usually not very noticeable. Now, at the bottom of this section, there's a new recent addition to MeshCore where the client devices can also repeat, similar to how Meshtastic works. Now, this is meant for operating in areas that don't have a current MeshCore mesh up and running, like going hiking or an event, for example. However, like I mentioned earlier, MeshCore is very focused on reducing traffic on meshes and are going about this in a much smarter way. If we enable repeat mode for these companion devices, it restricts you to a frequency that is separate from the main mesh frequency. Now, this is a topic for another video, however, that we'll get into deeper later. So let's leave this unchecked. And that covers all of the basic settings to get us up and running. Now, all we have to do is save these settings by selecting the check mark on the top right here. Now we can hit the back button here to go back to the main screen. Since this is a freshly set up device, you'll likely see it say no contacts. Now, an advert is basically a transmission with your device's name and contact info to announce your presence to others on the mesh. If you check the box for share position in advert, the position we set will also be shared. Now, if you remember earlier, I mentioned that companions don't automatically send adverts. The only types of devices that automatically send adverts are repeaters and room servers. To send an advert from a companion device like we just set up here, we have to manually do this by hitting the advert button, which is this signal looking icon on the top right here. Now you'll see three options here: zero hop, flood routed, and clipboard. Zero hop will send an advert only to other people who are within direct radio range from you. If a repeater picks it up, it won't repeat it, keeping this local to just your direct radio range area. The flood routed option will send the advert through the entire mesh. If a repeater picks up the advert, it will repeat it along with any other repeaters that hear it as well, which will send the advert throughout the mesh. The final option is clipboard. This will copy the advert to your device's clipboard. Then you can paste it into something like an email or text message to someone who you want to send your contact info. When they receive it, they would copy it and then go to the three-dot menu on the top right of the app, then add contact. Then there's an option for import from clipboard link. Selecting that will add you to their contacts list. This is basically just used whenever you want a contact that isn't currently within radio range. For this demo, I already have my WizMesh Pocket connected to my computer, and I'll go ahead and pull up my phone up on the screen here, which is connected to my ThinkNode M1. So since these two devices are within radio range, I'll send a zero hop advert. I'll start by sending one on the computer here, and when I do that, we can see that I'm now showing up on the phone's contact list. And if we tap on a user, we can send a direct message to them. So let's try that and send a message saying hello. Now, as you can see here, it failed. And the reason it failed is because both parties need to be in each other's contact list to be able to message each other. So let's go ahead and do the same from the phone here and send an advert. And here on the computer, we can see the advert, and we now have the other device in the contacts list. So let's go ahead and try to send a direct message again. Now, one helpful tip if you ever have a message fail, you can tap and hold on the message bubble, and you'll get an option to retry sending. This is handy so you don't have to type in the message again. And now we can see the message is successfully going through. So that was direct messaging between you and another user. At the bottom here, there's a tab for channels, and on this page we have a list of all the channels, which is currently just the default public channel. Now, a channel is essentially a chat room, and public is where everyone on the mesh can talk to each other. You can also create your own public and private channels, but that'll be discussed in another video, so this one doesn't get too long. Now, you may be wondering how to see if you're within range of a repeater. In the video covering devices I mentioned, we can check the maps on the MeshCore website and the MeshCore Analyzer website, but now that you have a device, there's also a few things we can do to actively search for repeaters. Before doing these, you may want to set your companion radio at a good location outside or in a windowsill at the highest level of your home. If you do see a repeater near you on one of the map options, place your device in an area or the side of your house facing that repeater's location. The first option is to send a message in the public channel, so let's hop in there and send a message saying hello mesh, and then go and hit the send button. Our message will get transmitted, and if we're within range of a repeater, we should see something under the message saying something like heard 1 repeat or heard 2 repeats or however many repeaters were heard repeating the message. If you don't see that, that means you're likely out of range of a repeater. The next option is the Discover Nearby Nodes option, and this can be found by opening the three-dot menu, select Tools, and then select Discover Nearby Nodes. And here we can see an option for Discover Repeaters, so let's go ahead and select that. It'll spend about 30 seconds or so reaching out to the mesh, asking for any repeaters to respond. And any that do will appear on the list here, along with an add button to add it to your contacts list, which I recommend doing. So go ahead and hit the add button, and when we go back to the contacts list, we can now see the repeater we just added. One of the cool things with repeaters is you can remotely log into them, and this is done by selecting it from the contacts list here. That'll bring you to a logon screen where you can enter in a password. The repeater owner will set a password for admin access so they can change settings on the repeater, but there's also an option for a guest password. The repeater owner can set this as a separate password for guests to log in and view info on the repeater, but they can't change any of the settings. The repeater owner can also leave the guest password blank so anyone can log in as a guest. This is up to the repeater owner, of course, but this is what I like to do and what I recommend other repeater owners do as well. As a new user on a mesh, especially a new one that's still being built out, here's where logging into a repeater as a guest can be helpful. So at the logon screen here, we'll leave the password blank and log in. As long as the repeater owner left the guest password blank, we should be able to log into it. And here we are, logged in as a guest into the repeater we just discovered. Now, where things can be helpful as a new user is the guest tool buttons at the bottom right here. Here we have an option to view owner info where repeater owners can put in some helpful contact info. Like in this example, I have our website email address and I put in a fake phone number here as an example. With this info, new users on the mesh can reach out to the repeater owner and work together to help expand the mesh in the area. Now let's hit the back button a few times and head back to the main screen, and then hit the three-dot menu and then select Tools again. The next option will let us see if there's any traffic on the mesh that we can pick up at all. And that's done in the RX log option here, and any sort of mesh traffic will be displayed here, making this a good way to see if there's any activity whatsoever around the area. Now, if you're unable to pick up anything with any of these methods, you may have to try them at different locations around your home or property to see if you have better luck. Another thing worth doing if you live near a mountain somewhere with good elevation or even a tall building is to go there and try some of these methods we just discussed. If you send a message in the public chat, for example, and you get the heard X number of repeats tag on your message, you know that someone down below has a MeshCore repeater repeating your message. If someone is near their companion, you may even get a reply back and can start having a conversation with another MeshCore user in your area to see what you can do to get your two areas connected. Now, don't get discouraged if you don't see many other users in your area. In an earlier video, I mentioned being the only user in my area, and with me and some other users working to spread the word, we were able to deploy repeaters throughout the area, and in less than 3 months, the mesh has grown to what you see on the map here. Every mesh starts with one or a small group of users, and it's just a matter of getting the word out and getting others involved. And that covers the basics of the app and how you can find other MeshCore users in your area. I hope you found this video helpful, and if you did, please be sure to give the video a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. Also, a lot of time and effort goes into these videos, and if you want to help support the channel, a great way to do so is by becoming a monthly member by hitting the join button below. Or if you prefer to just support one time, you can do so by sending a super thanks by hitting the thanks button on YouTube, or by visiting the Ko-fi page to support either one time or monthly there. In the next video, we'll go over recommended solar repeater options, and I look forward to seeing you there. Thank you all, and have a good one.